Hey there. I have Josephsbrau Dunkelweizen, which is an amber, unfiltered wheat beer. It says on here, but really it's a dark German-style wheat beer. And I didn't bring my bottle opener. 2 seconds. Bottle openers are important. Anyway, so this is one of my favorite styles of beer, and I came across it quite by accident, I think, when I was living in Nebraska, and now I'm not even going to remember the name of that particular brewery. Anyway, and I've noticed that this brewery has several beers available at Trader Joe's, and I had thought that it was a Trader Joe's brand, like that they had contracted the brand, because Trader Joe's always calls everything some variation on Trader Joe's. So, you know, their Chinese or Asian style food is called Trader Ming's, and so, or whatever. Anyway, so I thought, oh, it's like a generic Trader Joe's beer. Then I realized that it's in fact not. And they have a whole bunch of styles of beer, a bunch of different varieties, some of which are of my favorites. And so I thought I would start kind of working my way through them. So the Dunkel was my first. So this particular style of beer has an IBU rating of 10 to 18 and an alcohol by volume range of 4.3 to 5.6%. And this is 5.2 percent alcohol by volume and 18 IBUs, so right at the top range of the IBUs. But still, 10 to 18 is pretty low, so we're going to get a lot of malty sweetness out of this and not a lot of bitterness. But this particular style of beer is it is a wheat beer, but with a longer malt time on it, so it's or roasting, and so the color of the beer is darker, but still wheat. And this particular beer is unfiltered, and we'll talk about that a little bit more when we get to appearance in just a moment. But smell-wise, I really love the smells of these beers. To me, they're very refreshing and inviting. So this has like a fruity smell to it, kind of like banana, and a little bit of spicy cloviness. As we move into the German, then into the Bavarian, Belgian style ales, we get that kind of spicy clove scent and flavor, and this definitely falls into that range. Super sweet smell, lots of maltiness going on, some kind of roasty toastiness. It's got a lot, just like a really complex aroma, so there's a lot of stuff going on, and I like that a lot about this particular style. Let's see. Oh, so appearance-wise, light copper to a mahogany brown. And so we fall into that range. This is kind of a coppery brown, maybe a little on the light side for that, but unfiltered, as you can see. It's definitely cloudy. And so from my perspective, I really can't see through it. So definitely has some cloudiness. The high protein content of wheat impairs clarity in this traditionally unfiltered style, although the level of haze is somewhat variable. And so this style is one of those kinds of beers that you would kind of swirl around before pouring, because you want to get some of that yeast and some of that sediment, because it's part of the character of the beer. It gives it mouthfeel, gives it taste, and so that's something that we look forward to in this particular style. Flavor. So there's a lot of flavor going on, as you can imagine from the complexity of the aroma. Fruit is my first impression. Then I get that kind of spicy cloviness, and then like a little bit of a tartness to it. It's sweet. It's kind of grainy, malty, roasty. And I think that the tartness is really the yeast coming through. So this is definitely a yeasty yeasty style of beer, and that's generally to be expected in something that's going to be unfiltered. And so, in that respect, it's dead on. This is really well done to style. So as far as hops, this style has very low hops. I really don't get a lot of hop bitterness out of here, but it kind of has like a tart, almost citrusy finish. Which can be attributed to hops, or it might just be this, just this combination of yeast and of malt. But because of that, it really has that great flavor profile that offers like this sweetness, some yeastiness, lots of complexity, some fruitiness to it, and then like a nice kind of tart finish that has just a little bit of drying to it, and makes the beer just a really great flavor experience, like a roller coaster of flavor. And I really enjoy beers that have that kind of complexity in them. It makes it really enjoyable to drink. So very nice. Mouthfeel wise, it's definitely on the fuller side. This is actually pretty well carbonated. Yeah, moderate to high carbonation, so again, expected for this particular style. The presence of the yeast really gives it this kind of like velvety sweet, not sweetness, excuse me, this kind of velvety, smooth mouthfeel, which I also find enjoyable. I think it's really a great accompaniment to the flavor profiles that we're getting out of here. So my overall impression, this is a great beer. It's very drinkable. I'm kind of bummed out that it's taken me this long to grab it off the shelves, because I go to Trader Joe's with some regularity. So great beer, very enjoyable, great style. If you're looking for, if you like wheat beers, but you want something with a little bit more pizzazz, I think a Dunkelweizen is the way to go. In American beers, you can find some, but if you happen to be so lucky as to live next to a Bevmo, there's several Dunkels that are available in the German import section. Vorsteiner, that's the one that I drank and I enjoyed a lot. And of course they make great beer all around, but their Dunkelweizen is really enjoyable. So take a peek and see what you can find. I definitely recommend you drinking this style of beer, one of my very favorites. So a little bit of history. It's an old-fashioned Bavarian wheat beer, and it was often dark. In the 50s and 60s, wheat beers did not have a youthful image, since most older people drank them for their health-giving qualities. Today, the lighter hef is more common. And so we can, by that virtue, derive health benefits from drinking this very yummy style of beer. So I've heard of people who would drink stout and porters. Sometimes they would drink them for lunch, but pregnant women who would drink it for the micronutrients. I guess nowadays it's frowned upon to drink alcohol while pregnant, but those of us who are not pregnant get to enjoy all the health benefits of these darker ales. Some comments on this particular style. The presence of a Munich and or Vienna type barley malts give this style a deep, rich barley malt character not found in a Hefeweizen. Bottles with yeast are traditionally swirled or gently rolled prior to serving. So by German law, at least 50% of the grist must be malted wheat, although some versions use up to 70%, and the remainder is usually Munich and or Vienna malt. Traditional decoction mash gives the appropriate body without cloying sweetness. Weizen ales produce the typically spicy and fruity character, although extreme fermentation temperatures can affect the balance and produce off flavors. A small amount of noble hops are used only for bitterness. And very sparingly, because extra bitterness. We're not looking for bitterness in this particular style, so it just gives it a nice finish. So some commercial examples: Westeffener, Einger, Schneiderweiss, Tucher, which I've marked down here that I drank, and I found like 3 bottles of Tucher style, or of Tucher brews that were like $3 for 3 beers or something amazing like that. Again, available at Bevmo. Definitely recommend that. So there's Edelweiss Dunkel, which I think I've had the Edelweiss in a different style, which makes me very curious about the Dunkel. And then of course, Erdinger. All great beers for this particular style. Definitely a German, Bavarian dominant style of beer, so if you've got that available to you, I definitely recommend it. If this is something that you have tried, then let me know. I would like to hear down below, and let me know where you were able to find it. I think sometimes when people are reviewing the comments, it's nice to know, if you don't live in the Bay Area or Northern California specifically, where you might be able to find beers of this style. So thank you so much for sharing your comments. I appreciate it. Thank you for watching, and have a good night.